Yeah, I just got to get this up.
Look at that. Works like it's supposed to. It's a miracle.
It is a miracle.
It's a miracle if I can squeeze in here.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of a tight fit. One of these days. What's up,
It's nice
Miguel?
and
We're
snug.
about to get started.
Makes me feel nice and cozy over here.
All right.
It's like I'm doing the podcast from bed.
I do
Do you
like...
need more space? We can scoot toward me.
No, I'm playing around.
All right. So you let me know when you want to roll.
Well, give me 1 second. Pull up my computer here.
Sure. Before here, let me tweet out that we are broadcasting on Periscope.
Yeah, they got to
Real
make
quick.
sure they tune in for my QT
Uh-oh.
drinking.
Uh-oh.
Get out of here, traitor.
Why do you have a Circle K cup?
That's a good question.
It was on the way.
It is a
Sorry.
great
You
question.
disgust me.
It was on the way, brah. All right.
I go out of my way for QT. So
I do too. I mean,
There's an
I
app-
do have one, like literally 1 block from my house.
Yeah, we can
but when
walk
I'm
there
not
right
at
now.
my house, I will go out of my way for QT.
their app tells you where the nearest QT is.
They have
That
a
is
QT
true.
app?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it gives you free stuff.
Why the freak don't I have that?
Yeah, I have a free drink that's good until April.
Yeah, it tells you go on there and it's like, where's a QT near me?
We need to get
shows
paid by QT.
Well,
Of course,
this is all the pre-show content,
this is pre-show content.
exclusive content for Periscope
I know.
and YouTube, I guess, after the fact.
Yeah, that's true.
If my phone works, which I don't know, I was maybe going to talk about it on the show, but maybe it's not that important.
Do we want to have more meaningful pre-show content?
Well, it was just we do.
I did Pilates today.
Oh, you did? Really?
Wait. Let's get started before we go down this rabbit hole.
You want to go to the regular show? I was just going to keep it for the Periscope listeners only. But
Oh, go for
No,
it.
that's good. You should tell us the story right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. So I was just bored with every other workout. I only have 20 minutes, and I'm doing that daily burn, right? It's an app, and I really
wait,
like it. We
do
should
I
get paid
have
by
that?
these guys, too, because I think it's really good. It's a
Yeah.
subscription. You have to pay for it and everything, but
Oh,
you
I
get all
don't
these
have
videos, and they give you a new workout literally every single day.
Just one?
Like one new workout every day, but then there's a whole
Just
library
one?
that you can pick from.
I needed so many
Anyway,
workouts.
But I was like, I only got like a few minutes. I just okay. So you have a filter, and you can just say, just give me the 20-minute or less workouts. So I set that filter, and I'm like, I'm just kind of bored with everything in here because I don't have very much time very frequently. Mm-hmm. So I've done all of those a lot, and I'm like, I don't want to do. It was like that or a breakdancing workout or like a Bollywood dancing
Bollywood.
workout. I should have done Bollywood, but I was like, all right, I guess I'm doing Pilates. I'm like, I felt like kind of a girl going into it. Maybe that's a sexist thing to say, but I guess I'm sexist. I don't know, because I felt kind of chickish going into it. But like halfway through this workout, I was like, holy crap, this workout is hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I freaking did Pilates.
Nice.
I feel just a little more estrogen in my veins. I think that's what Pilates is made to do.
Miguel says that you should have done the Beyonce Black Panther dance workout. It's a lot of gyration. You
from
might
the
throw
Super
your
Bowl,
back
right?
out, but
Yeah.
They came out dressed like Black Panthers and doing the fist
well,
salute.
they tweeted out the fist salute. And all
Oh,
that
they
stuff.
tweeted the fist salute. Gotcha.
That's okay. All right, you ready?
I
Yes,
am.
indeed. All right, I can start recording over here in 3, 2. Hey, this is Strons. Thanks for listening to the podcast. You can check out more great content on threeheadedeagle.com. You can also find us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. New episodes of our podcast go live every Saturday, so be sure to subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher.
Today's Supreme Court decisions reflect the state of
American terrorist arms
That's
off
your
the
money.
southwest border
That is
from Mexico.
your money.
Has the federal government kept us safe, or does it just want us to think that it has kept us safe?
It's the battlefield of ideas. Eagle Show.
Hey, welcome to the Three-Headed Eagle Show. Wait a minute. Wait, what did you name the robot girl in our intro, Jeremy?
Vicky is the name of her on
Vicky,
the program.
that's right.
It's
Vicky.
somebody- I didn't name her that. That was
Vicky.
on the program that we use, you just tell it what to say, and Vicky
Vicky
is the name
says
of that
it.
voice. Yeah, like there's others. Like there's 1,000 different voices. There's one like Dave, and it could have been like
Vicky's better.
ideas, inspiration, and information, and that's what it would have sounded like if we'd chosen Dave or Russ.
I
or
like
something
Vicky more.
that.
I like Vicky more. Welcome to the podcast, guys. How you doing, Strauss?
Good. How come every time we're doing a podcast, there's a debate going on?
Because
Is there another one right now?
A Democratic debate on
Of
PBS.
course it was
Democrats.
a Democratic debate.
There's no such thing as a Democratic debate.
It's just two people
Agreement?
Yeah.
agreeing with each other.
Consensus?
A Democratic agreement. It's like a fight now to see who can be more socialist, because it's like, oh, Bernie's socialist. That means I can just tell everybody I am too.
Yeah.
What, you want
Like-
to see what they're saying?
Would you be all that surprised if you tuned in one time and it's like, okay, we're here at the Democratic debate, and it was just literally Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton making out in the middle of the stage, just rolling around on the floor?
I would
You're
be
like, yeah.
surprised. I would be.
Would you? Like, how surprised would you
Not
be? Like,
that they were
whoa,
making
or
out.
just like,
I'd be more surprised
Like,
that
where
they
would you be?
were
Rolling around.
rolling around.
Yeah.
I think they'd just be standing and making out.
you'd just be like, huh. Yeah, I wouldn't even, if they were standing and making out, I'd just be like, yep,
Makes sense.
saw that coming.
I imagine in that scenario it'd be a Indiana Jones and Last Crusade effect. You know, at the moment they kiss, they just dissolve into like dead skin. I don't know why that came to my mind, but it just,
Was it? Last Crusade is the
Yeah,
one
yeah.
where they just. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
their skin just falls
yeah,
off.
he
I was-
drinks from the wrong cup and
I was thinking of the Raiders of the Lost Ark, where like the angry
They melt.
angels fly out and their faces
Yeah.
melt.
no, not that one.
I guess those are angry angels. Is that what they were supposed to be? I always assumed that's what they were supposed to be.
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like the wrath of God
Yeah.
or something.
Makes
I
your
have the
face
debate
melt.
up.
I missed that part in the Bible, by the way. The wrath of God shall make thy face melt. I didn't. I didn't see that, but whatever.
You have it because I
have
pulled it up over here.
What do
you
got?
But you can actually. I guess you have the capability to play it
And
through
we
our
should
headphones.
back up the recent donors conference to
Oh,
make
weird.
sure we have
She's
made
just as
our
annoying this time as last
contribution to
time.
try to
No
deal
way.
with
What's
the
she saying?
Enormous cost that these refugees
Something about
are
refugees.
posing,
Is your volume
to
all the way up?
Turkey
That
and
seems
to
real low.
No,
members
the
of
the
EU
video
in
player's
particular.
volume is down.
This is
Oh.
a humanitarian catastrophe. There's no other description of it. So we do, as the United States, have to support our friends, our allies in Europe. We have to stand with them. We have to provide financial support to them. We have to provide, of
course we do.
Provide financial
As
support.
if
Oh,
we
good.
don't do enough of that
Look,
already.
We got
What's going
15
on,
seconds
we have
into
to-
this, and already I'm like, oh, I disagree with you, Hillary. Wow. We have to provide financial support for our allies. No, we can provide support for our allies without throwing money at them.
But we
can
already
say we're here.
throw
We're
money
be-
at them.
I know. Stop. Can we stop? It's like I understand the argument that like it's only a drop in the bucket, like our foreign aid and all that. So,
But there's
oh,
a
it's
lot
only
of
drop-
drops in
Yeah,
that bucket.
There's a lot of drops. Let's take that one out first, because it's like, okay, you know what? We've just decided we're going to take care of our own country before we take care of all of yours. Because here's the funny thing: we borrow money from other countries, and then we give it away to other different countries.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense at all. It's like, look, when we have so much money that we're just like, you know, we've got this extra surplus and we don't even know what to do with it. Then you want to talk about foreign aid? I'll still disagree. But then we can talk about it and it could make more sense.
And you know what? It would make for. I'd be very happy with that. Not giving foreign aid very often because, for example, I've talked to people who are like, Germany, they really got it figured out. Their social programs are really great. Their economy does really well in Europe, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, and so what would happen if we made Germany pay for their military rather than us paying for it?
Uh-huh.
Like, people are like, what? I was like,
tell you what would
Germany's
happen.
already upside down in their budget, and we're paying for a lot of their military.
World War III, that's what would happen.
Essentially.
It's what happened the last time. We're like, all right, you guys are free to do whatever you need to do with your military. And, try not to elect guys with funny mustaches. That seems like a bad idea, but, do your thing. See ya.
Wow.
We'll be back in a few years.
What's Bernie saying? Is he still talking?
Bernie, he was talking. They have a new question now.
Policy decisions, and why do you see them as? Why are they influential?
She did a bad job reading that question.
You know, Franklin Delano Roosevelt.
He just scratched his head.
Shh.
Took the oath of office in 1933
Very good.
at a time when
Good job.
25%
Okay.
of the American people were
You know why
unemployed.
Bernie knows that? He was alive.
He was in incredible despair.
Wait.
He stood before the American people and he said, the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. A profound statement
Well, I think there were
that gave
R's
the
in those
American
words.
people
Fear.
the courage to believe
Fear.
that, yes, we could get out of that terrible depression.
Uh-huh.
And then what he did is redefined the role of government.
Yeah.
You know, you had Herbert Hoover before that saying, no, we're going to only worry about the deficit. So what if mass unemployment exists? So what if children are going hungry? That's not the role of the government. And what FDR said, yeah, it is.
And
That
he
we're gonna
was
use
wrong.
all of
He
the
was wrong.
resources that we have to create jobs, to build homes, to feed people, to
Wait a
protect
minute.
the
Didn't
farmers.
we? Okay.
are a
Recently, we even talked about this.
This was
That there was two economists in Southern California who did all that research and determined that the New Deal extended the Depression by 7 years.
somebody else did research on that.
No, we talked about those two guys.
I was just going to say because I've
We've talked
known
about
that
this
for a
before.
long time.
Right.
I was going to say I think
Bernie
like 100
Sanders
economists
is-
have done that.
Bernie Sanders is he has to know this. He has to know this.
does.
Having lived through the Depression, as old as he is, he has to have remembered this. It should be common knowledge by now, but of course it isn't. That the New Deal and all that, because it propped up a fake economy. Which weird. We have essentially the same thing with the bank bailouts.
Yeah.
Because the banks weren't allowed to fail, which means that their bad policies and their bad spending and their bad business practices were never a consequence.
But only this time, it's like, okay, you go into a depression, and then the idea for them is like, okay, we just print a bunch of money and we give it to everybody, and then the money starts to circulate around, and eventually it pulls us out of the depression, right? And there's subjects and sub-subjects and all of that and everything. I get that, but that's the basic idea of their economic system to get out of a depression, right?
Sure.
Problem is, now we've been in a depression, but nobody really wants to admit it. We've had this jobless recovery where they say, oh, yeah, everybody's back to work now. But, I mean, really, people are giving up. They're not looking for work anymore, right? Even Bernie Sanders, I think himself, said the actual jobless rate is 10.1%, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
definition of a depression is over 10%. Okay? So we've been in a depression the entire Obama administration. But now, it's like, we've already done the money printing thing. We're already hugely in debt. Now you have to start raising interest rates to start honing the money back in, to start pulling it back in.
Yep.
They raised interest rates by 0.25%.
And we dropped
And we've had
a ton.
Yeah, like 3,000 points in the stock market in the
We had
last couple of months.
567 points in one day or something like
Yeah,
that.
remember, some of the lowest points in the stock market history were in the Great Depression. And
Yep.
also, some of the higher points in stock market history were in the Great Depression. The stock market went up, and it's one of the things that made it so bad is that everybody it was like the eye of the storm, right? Everybody came out and they're like, oh, storm's over, good, we're safe. And they started investing their money again, and it got destroyed.
Yeah. Sounds right.
We got to the we're all going to die part way early in this episode.
All right. Do we want to talk about some actual topics? Because we don't have to listen to Bernie Sanders anymore.
No, that's
It was
okay.
kind of entertaining. He's just giving us topics. We literally turned it on for like 90 seconds, and we're just like, oh, I have to scream.
I did have one topic.
Well, that's good. That's how many we're supposed to bring to the show.
All right. Ready for this? Do you guys want to go to a diversity and inclusive seminar brought on by the Faculty Women of Color Caucus at ASU? Would you like to attend with me?
Sure.
I'll give you a little paragraph.
Sure.
This is their opening paragraph to this. Diversity and inclusion remains among the biggest challenges facing universities nationwide. While examples of discrimination and racism are clear to the eye, it's the microaggressions on campus and in the classroom that have tremendous negative impact on campus climate and culture. You guys still want to join me and head off to this thing? It sounds awesome.
I would love to go.
Yeah?
Wait, is participation encouraged? Because I would love to go and participate.
Subtle and seemingly unbiased comments.
I would not be subtle, and I would seem biased.
Insults and jokes woven
Lot
into
of those.
everyday
Lot of those.
dialogue and function as microaggressions.
Wouldn't be micro.
They are as destructive as direct racist remarks and have profound negative impact upon students discussing microaggressions theory. On students and faculty of color.
And I wouldn't be racist either, though.
In this
for the
special keynote event, Dr. Wing Su, will discuss microaggression theory and the impact of microaggressions in higher education. Want to go?
I mean, yeah, I'd be curious to see what they have to say. If they could convince me that it's one of the biggest problems facing colleges.
Right.
And that's one of the,
I missed that.
that was like the opening thing. One of the biggest.
I was too busy mocking it.
Yeah.
Yep. Diversity and inclusion remains among the biggest challenges facing universities nationwide. Diversity and inclusion.
You know, my school that I go to wins all kinds of awards for diversity, and they're really proud of it. We do have a really diverse student body.
That's good.
Yeah, it's good, and it seems like everybody gets included. And you can make some arguments that it's like, well, Jeremy's in law school. Maybe it's because he's not. They've already moved past that. They've already been through the university culture, and it already boiled all the racism out of them. I don't know. I don't know what the argument might be, or they're just a little older and maybe mature, and this is a young people thing. I don't think they would make that argument, but maybe. I don't know. But that's one thing that I would say about my school is that, like, if you went in there and told an even slightly racist joke, I think you would be the outcast. I think you would be the one not being included way quicker than...
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm not seeing how this is not a problem on my campus. Hey, maybe there are campuses across America somewhere where it is an issue. Like I said, I don't know. Just this is the only one I've got to go on.
So this is at ASU, right?
Yep.
Because I went to ASU. Okay?
This event is sponsored by the President's Office, the
if I
Inclusion and
remember right,
Community Engagement.
You, Strons, have since repented of that, have you
Yes,
not?
yes.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Now, granted, I can't speak for every ASU student, but I can speak about my experience there. And if you think of any controversial issue, okay, gay rights, abortion, evolution, what other stuff is controversial? I don't know. Like the controversial stuff, right? Mm-hmm. That is all so pro-liberal in every class I ever took that if you took the opposing side, like those kids are the ones who were
Completely
ostracized and put out and faced microaggressions or whatever it was. And like, okay, fine. Like it's an institution of education, and they've said these are the things that are their core tenets, or these are the like in science class, you're going to learn about evolution, like, right? So if that offends you as a microaggression or whatever, then like, okay, deal with it. Like you went to the school, that's what they teach. Mm-hmm. Same thing with like abortion or gay rights or whatever. Like that's their thing. But I don't remember anyone complaining about it. There wasn't any like, no. Granted, there were a few people who would be like waving the anti-abortion signs around like lunchtime in the kind of common area. There's always like one guy like shouting scripture, just at people like walking by. God loves you. Oh, geez, all right, man.
We got a guy that literally screams scripture in downtown Phoenix. It is awesome. He always wears black pants and a black shirt and an American flag tie, an American flag bandana, and a cowboy hat. Mm-hmm. And he screams.
How have I not seen this guy?
At the top of his lung. Next time you're in downtown, come get me. I'll show you where he's at.
Okay.
It's at lunch break, right? You can literally go out on the balcony of my school and hear this guy down on the corner. Now, granted, my balcony is on the 20th floor. You can hear him from the balcony. You'd be like, yeah, what's he screaming about? And the funny thing is, he's screaming it so loud that his voice is so distorted that even though you can hear him, Nobody has any clue what he's saying.
Right.
I had to walk up to him and like stand like right next to him to the point where my eardrums were about to get blown out before I could understand what this fool was saying. And I was like, oh, he's doing scripture. Oh, he's holding the Bible. Oh, okay, I got you. You're screaming scripture. All right, cool. See ya. Anyway, that was not the point of your topic.
No, my point was that, if anything, the classes I took and the professors I had were all totally on board with this kind of thing. I took a class that was about like African American and white privilege in film or something like that. Like I'm a film major, and we watched like old racist movies, new movies that were controversial because they featured, black characters and leading roles, like just stuff like that, and talked about race in film. And guaranteed in any of my classes, if anyone said anything slightly racist or slightly anti-immigrant or slightly feminist,
or even not racist, but
no,
maybe not totally in line with what the teachers.
Those were the kids where everyone would be like, oh no, you can't say, you can't say that stuff. And that's not to say that there aren't people who hold racist or anti-feminist or whatever beliefs. Like obviously, like those people exist. But that is not the popular trend, certainly not in the public space. Now, I can understand if someone says some remark that, offends someone based on, race, sexual orientation, gender, whatever it is, right? And it offends them.
Sure.
The microaggressions, right? These small jokes that people make that are just destroy and like are just as, what they say, just as offensive as overtly racist comments or something like that.
Right.
You were just telling me a story, because this happens all the time. You were just telling me a story about someone who said something that you disagreed with, but they said it as if it was like, common knowledge, right?
Sure.
Like you're around people and they're just like, I can't believe anyone would not vote for Bernie Sanders. People like those kind of things, right? Mm-hmm. And you hear that and you're like, well, I wouldn't. Or like,
sure.
you disagree, right? And it kind of offends you. Is that like a microaggression? Because they said something that like disagreed with you?
I think so. I think we're all just supposed to get along. But I think that's what, their definition of getting along is just you agree with them.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is.
Whether
Adam,
you're lying or not, you just agree with them.
Do you remember a couple years ago on Constitution Day, I posted, this day used to be a federal holiday until it was replaced with a day celebrating unions earlier in the month. Which one would you prefer?
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm sending it out to my friends on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And the very first response was from a friend of my ex-wife, which I don't know how I hadn't like gotten rid of her by that point. Somehow had skipped over her.
Sure.
And she goes, unions, for sure. And I was like, oh, you poor thing. You have no idea.
Oh, the barrage.
You have no idea what you've just done. But literally, nobody was being mean. Nobody was saying you're stupid. Nobody was saying, like mocking her. They were all just saying, well, Constitution is what gives unions the right to exist. So isn't it more important? Making valid points. And she couldn't handle valid points.
She got so upset.
She got so mad. And I tried to check her out of the conversation several times. Literally just saying like, okay, well, thanks for the conversation,
You took it down eventually, didn't you?
Okay. No, I didn't take it down.
Did you not?
Give me a freaking break. No, I don't do that.
Whoa. You are bold, sir.
Anyway, but that was the thing. And then she started saying about, oh, you're all attacking me, and why can't you handle a different perspective? And we're like, we can. Why can't you respond to the question? Why can't you just say, this is my perspective, that's your perspective, this is why I think what I think, that's why you think what you think. People think that it's aggression because as soon as you challenge their position, that they don't know why they believe that particular position, they get scared and automatically they react with fear or anger. And so they think, oh, I'm being attacked.
I have it, by the way.
You got the post there? What exactly did I say?
Happy Constitution Day. 224 years ago, 39 delegates signed their names into a sacred document in celebration. I went out to the desert and practiced my Second Amendment rights. This must have been
this is a different one.
And it was like with Adam Meredith. Hey, that's me!
Oh, yeah, we went out there. I remember that.
No, here it is. It has got 43 comments. Essentially, you just said, it was the same year, and you just kind of said, P.S., should this be a federal holiday, or should we keep the one earlier in the month where we celebrate labor unions? And, oh, wow, there's so many comments. I gotta, Yeah, hers was the very first one. Unions, definitely unions.
Unions, definitely unions. I literally looked at it and was like, oh no.
But like,
Just, you don't know.
you know, the first comment to her was like trade labor unions day for Constitution Day. Yeah, I'm in, and we should celebrate it by reading it. And then it's like, then they just go on to say essentially what you said. Like the Constitution gives us the right, freedom of speech, and to like the First Amendment. Everything in the First Amendment is what allows unions to exist. You can meet together. You can talk about things. You can create organizations. That's all First Amendment rights.
Right. Good. Scroll down to where she's getting pissed off. I want to hear.
Well, I just, you know, I came in and gave my 2 cents because I'm definitely on this. And then she's like, somebody was. I wrote "Screw Labor Day, Constitution Day," yeah, and then she just definitely jumps into the you're that isn't what I'm saying. You're misrepresenting me, those kinds of things, and then I wrote back, no, I don't think you understand the purpose of the Constitution. You say that it's a foundation, things like that. I'm just trying to skim through it really fast because there's a lot of comments. You know, unions provide a collective voice for people who are in the unions.
We don't know that.
Blah, blah, blah.
We don't know that.
Yeah, so like I'm going through and I'm like arguing like, yes, we know. Like, this is what the union's for, and this is kind of what it is.
So when
like,
I said "you poor girl," I guess I was actually talking about what Adam would do to her. I didn't remember at all it being mostly Adam, but apparently it was.
Well, the first few were me, and I'm definitely like writing at her, like, so she knows that I'm talking about her.
Anyway,
so let me get to the bottom while you talk.
So the point of the whole conversation is that she had an idea, or she had an opinion, and she couldn't back it up. Why should the unions be celebrated before the Constitution or instead of the Constitution? Right? She couldn't back it up, and she just got automatically, offended and said, "Oh, you're attacking me." So I think that's what it's talking about. Like these micro or macro aggressions are. I have an opinion. I don't know why I have that opinion. I've never had to think about that opinion before because I'm always constantly surrounded by people of the same opinion.
Well, the microaggressions specifically are in relation to things about a person they can't change, right? Their race, gender, sexual orientation, whatever. Things that they hold so near and dear that that's those are the things that set them off. When they hear something, someone says something that that the person receives as a microaggression in relation to race or something like that. But it is. Whoa, what was that?
All right.
But I do think it's a similar thing going on to what you're talking about, where people are going to offend one another because we all hold differing beliefs and we all have different ways of talking and communicating, right? You could be around a group of black guys and they're totally cool with anyone saying the N-word, right?
Right.
That could be a thing. There could be another group of black guys and they if they can say it and then they're not cool with white people saying it.
Right.
Or other races saying it.
Right.
And then there could be another group of black guys where they don't even want to say the N-word because they think it's it promotes racism and stuff, even if they say it. So it's all these different groups have different beliefs about a word. It's not even anything that important in the grand scheme of things, right? It's not like an economic policy. It's not even how people actually feel about one another. It's just a word. And yes, it represents feelings and emotions, but at the end of the day, it's just a word. Same thing with women and the C word, right? Some women super offended by it. Other women who are stand-up comedians use it all the time, right? So
I think I'm not even telling a joke. I don't even know what you're referring to.
The C word?
Just come over here. I say,
you can look it up.
All right, I'm going to look it up real quick.
We got to keep this podcast G-rated for iTunes, otherwise we'll get explicit.
I seriously don't even know.
And you know what? These are words that I would say, but I know that some people are going to be offended. So
sure.
I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to.
Oh. Thank you, UrbanDictionary.com. Sorry,
I think that there's this line where there's common decency, right? There's certain things that you just want, you just shouldn't say. out of respect for people around you. Like if I walk into a room and there's kids playing, I'm not going to go in there and drop F-bombs and curse and because that's just respect for someone else's family and young kids who aren't around that language, right? I don't really cuss that much anyway, but if I was someone who cussed a lot, I would avoid that circumstance. That's just common decency, right?
Yeah.
And then it kind of bleeds into other areas where you have to be careful. The problem is I think once upon a time we had tougher skin, or at least culture promoted the idea of tougher skin, where like, hey, you can't control what they say, but how you can control your reaction. Your reaction is more important. And just recently, I watched this thing about an argument between a black guy who videoed a guy who owns a dry cleaner say like, "Oh, I don't want you people around here." They were really upset with each other, and he's like, "What do you mean, you people?" It was like he literally said, "What do you mean, you people?" And so it was like a script from a movie, but. Then they interviewed both guys, and one guy's like, "Well, you didn't see what he was saying to me about being an immigrant before the video started," right? So it's like racism on both sides. And then they interview a lady who's protesting, and she's outside. There's only a small group of protesters. Like it looked like there was only like 5 people out there, but she kept saying, "Well, somebody needs to do something about this. He shouldn't be here.
Somebody do something.
He shouldn't be here. They should shut him down."
Who, the immigrant guy?
Yeah, shut his business down. Now, could he have probably said things differently? Yeah, probably. I mean, could the guest have worked it out without videotaping and then encouraging the conversation and then posting it online? Probably. But people aren't civil anymore not because of the way they're talking to each other. It's because they're receiving anything. Anything that's received can be received with anger. And I think we're just being trained to be offended and that it's okay and encouraged to be angry all the time.
Well, and what you're talking about, those are actually like people giving full-on aggressions.
Right.
Like that's, and so when you talk about these microaggressions, like these are things that, and they'll readily admit, like these people aren't aware that they're offending someone because they're microaggressions, right? So, like, it seems to me, rather than like getting together and having this group discussion talking about like all the ways that you could potentially offend somebody and you got to watch every single thing you say because you might offend somebody. Rather than having that, just have an actual conversation with somebody. If you say something that offends me, I should just say like pull you aside, talk to you later, whatever. Maybe like I cool off, come back a day later and just be like, "Hey, dude, the other day when you said that thing about my weight or about my wife or about my kid or whatever it is, I just be like, that kind of upset me." And guess what? In that moment, I'll find out if you're actually, like, okay, so switch to a different example. If you're actually a racist or if you just said something unintentionally, and then we can correct the situation. Yeah. Or I can just find out that you're a huge racist and then just know, okay, well, I don't want to be friends with you, right?
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
Like you can figure that stuff out
real quick. And more
often
often than not, you're going to realize, you know what, I probably overreacted. It wasn't that big of a deal.
Or it was something that did offend and you didn't mean for it to. Maybe you used the wrong word and I interpreted that like, "Oh, you're talking about my weight? Well, that's offensive to me."
Right.
Like, well, I was just saying the word huge. I didn't know. I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about your personality or whatever. You're like, "I'm so sorry. I'll try and watch what I say." And I'll be like, "Yeah, you know what? I'll try and not get so offended because I really shouldn't be set off by that little of a word." And we can figure it out and come to an agreement rather than like making a huge deal out of something when we're talking like in this thing they set it up like, "Oh, this is just as bad as overt."
Yeah, this is our new Jim Crow laws.
But we're talking about microaggressions. We're talking about the smallest of the small offenses that people can make to one another, and like that is going to happen because people are different.
Right.
And you have to be okay with that. Otherwise, you're basically saying we all need to be the same, we all need to be plain, and we can't offend anyone. And you can't even say anything remotely in line with your actual beliefs because guess what? You're going to offend someone based on your politics, what you believe about race or ethnicity or gender or sexual orientation or the laundry or religion, the laundry list of things that you could say to offend someone else overtly. We've already kind of checked that off the list, and we're already living in this kind of super PC world, right? Where people you can't even say the N-word, right? Just when you're talking about the N-word.
Sure. Yeah.
Because it's going to offend someone and you're going to get fired and people are going to call you out and they're going to blast you on Twitter and they're going to ruin your life. If you say a word, just talking about a word, right? Not using it at anyone, right? So that's the world we live in. On the actual aggressions towards one another, using words that mean something. So now we're talking about microaggressions, and we're trying to take it that one step further of this like lower sub communication level, and saying, no, you can't even say something that might offend somebody. It's like,
well, then what can I say?
Then you know
I
what?
can't say anything.
Then you know what? I'm not going to talk to anyone who may even disagree with me. And if I am talking to them, I'm just not going to say anything of substance, and we're not going to actually have a real conversation about anything because everything is offensive.
Yeah,
it is.
And you know what? These people, they're probably their response to that would be, no, we're not offended by everything. Just these things: race, gender, sexual orientation. That's what we're worried about. Right? But they're just one group. There's probably another group out there who was like, well, we also like to add in politics and religion into that conversation because, those are also really, personally held beliefs and we don't want to offend anyone there. And then there's probably another group that's like, yeah, and we also want to make sure we include brand loyalty, iPhone, Android affiliation, Windows, Mac affiliate, because those are things that people hold really near and dear. Mm-hmm. And that sounds like a joke, but everything always gets taken one step further by somebody else out there. There's always a group crazier than you. Right? We get on a podcast and people think we're crazy, right? We're super conservative, libertarian. You guys you guys are the worst. You're the worst. Guess what? There is a group crazier than us.
Yep.
And you can go find them. And you find them, and guess what? There's someone crazier than them. Everywhere. Everything. There's always someone going to take you to that next level. So when do you say, like, you know what? I'm kind of cool with how it is right now. Like, no one say anything like super racist, super offensive to me. If you say something subtle, like I might not like you, I might not be friends with you, but like I'm okay with that. I don't need to infringe on like your mind think. Mm-hmm. What is it? What do they call it? What is it in like Brave New World or 1984? What do they call it? Something.
I don't remember what you're talking about.
What?
Your mind think?
I don't know where you went.
It's not mind think. It's not mind think. It's I don't know.
I just so perfect example of kind of what you're getting at is, we have this conversation, and I would have to admit, I've been reading through these comments from what Jeremy brought up earlier, and it's definitely like people making pretty hard points, but nobody's really saying anything specifically at her. I mean, I did say you probably are someone who thinks America is a straight democracy, stuff like that, right? Basically implying that you just don't know the Constitution, that like your arguments aren't constitutional. And she ends up essentially saying, let me see if I can read it. Oh, again, I respectfully disagree. I'm going to let this be. Everyone's entitled to their own opinions, even if they are partisan. That's okay. One last thing. It seems that there was a lack... it seems that what's lacking here is a degree of tolerance. Hope you guys can learn how to cultivate some. Have a wonderful day. So she essentially says, well, you disagree with me because you're not tolerant.
Is that where I said...
Have a good day. And then you write, tolerance, you bigots, you racists, you haters.
That's right. I forgot about that last bit.
Yeah. So
did I say? Was that you were flirting with? You were flirting with Saul Alinsky, but you married him on that one. Is that the comment? Yeah.
No, that was straight out of Rules for Radicals. And then I think I made a comment that agreeing with you, and you were like, "Adam, shut up, you bigot." So basically, and that's exactly what it is. Like, you have an argument, you keep arguing your point and pushing back, and there is clear lines between you and someone else in your way of thinking. And in the end, there's two kinds of people. Well, there's a spectrum, but it really comes down to two different basic ideas. You can either say, I don't agree with you, and that's fine. And it doesn't look like I'm getting anywhere with this discussion or debate. So, cool. Well, we're going to part disagreeing. That's fine. And then there's someone who says, well, if you don't think the way I do, then you need to be stopped. Like, you can't think that way. You're intolerant, you're bigoted, and you begin to lose the argument on the points, and you start to attack the person personally, which is exactly what happened here. You make these arguments about one side or the other. And in the end, it's not the argument that's the problem. It's your tolerance that's the problem. And I think when it comes to microaggressions, it's not the like greater society that's really wrong. It's just you. It's not the concept of microaggressions that's wrong, even though it can be argued. Mm-hmm. It's you. You're wrong because you're not seeing microaggressions as what I see microaggressions are. I mean, when we work together, Strons, how often was my religion brought up as a joke by certain people?
Well, I'm sure I probably didn't notice it as much as you did, but I know it definitely came up. I remember it being a topic of conversation on a few occasions.
When we went out after shoots, when we went out to get dinner and all that stuff, what did they call me? Do you remember?
The DD?
The DD?
The designated driver. I don't know.
Or the Shirley Temple.
Oh, yeah.
They called me Shirley Temple. Why? Well, because if we were
Shirley
at a bar,
Temples.
I was like,
you look
know
just
what?
like her.
That's true. I'm hot.
Whoa, wait. You thought Shirley Temple was hot? That's
Like as a
She got
5-year-old?
older. I don't know if you guys knew, but she did grow up.
Nope.
So you
You
think
didn't
Shirley
die
Temple,
as
the old lady, is hot? This is just getting
You
worse.
know she was
What the
supposed
heck?
to be Dorothy, right?
She what?
I'm gonna look up pictures. You can tell me. Anyway, the difference is I can either be offended by it and get upset, or I can just be like, yeah, I'm Mormon. I don't drink alcohol. I like the taste of Shirley Temples.
Well, you probably were offended, and
But-
you probably didn't like it.
I didn't necessarily like it, but I didn't see it as somebody intentionally trying to hurt my feelings or make me feel belittled. And because of that, I could say, it's not that big of a deal. It just isn't. It's not worth blowing up over. And so, I just didn't care. I didn't care enough to make it a big deal. And that's, I think, the difference is people can do what they do, but I can't control that. And I shouldn't try to control someone else. I can mention it. If it really became a big problem, I could bring it up. But all I can really control in those situations is my reaction to it. And so I just owned it. It wasn't a big deal. You know what I mean? So, that's the difference. We're teaching people, you can't control your reaction, so therefore you must control the other person. And that's what these microaggression, diversity things that they're putting on are about.
Yeah.
They're not about fix your reaction, fix your perspective, control your own self-emotions. It's not about that. It's about controlling someone else, shut them up, close their mouths. They can't hurt people. They can't offend. No one can talk anymore openly. And that's just it.
Well, okay, so there's this thing that people do, because I understand, okay, you think your example is a pretty good one, right? Because you're far more sensitive to something about you as a person individually than other people around you.
Sure.
You're going to notice the things that you notice, and me who...
That's profound.
Someone
Thank
who's...
you for
Yeah, I know. Someone who's not Mormon, like, I don't pick up on those things as keenly as you do, right?
Sure.
And so I think it could be a thing where if there's one person who's constantly making Mormon jokes, obviously that person you could have a conversation with, or you could just hate them. Like, I don't know what you do, but
Hate them. I think that's clearly the answer. That's what Jesus would do.
Exactly.
Yeah, just hate them.
Yeah, just hate them.
But the other thing that might be likely is that because people know you're Mormon, it's probably pretty common for a bunch of different people to make small Mormon remarks. And when all of those pile up, because you're the one noticing them, it feels like, man, all people can talk about is that I'm Mormon and they're making fun of me or whatever, right? And that would wear on you. It would get on you a while. But it's also the same thing. You guys ever get a haircut?
Sometimes.
And
I have gotten a
it's like,
haircut,
and
yeah.
it's everyone notices your haircut.
And
Yeah.
you hear it all the time.
And you're
I,
like, and yeah, exactly. You're like, oh, nice haircut. And I don't know if you said anything.
I did not.
You
it's
did.
because Jeremy's a bad person.
I thought it was a good
That is a
haircut,
direct
but I also
aggression, by
didn't
the
think
way.
it was different enough to mention.
Right. But
By the way,
But there are people
I
like-
directly had an aggression towards you,
Right now.
and I'm not apologizing.
Okay. I accept it. I move on.
but there are people who you'll walk into a room after just getting your haircut, and they're just like, haircut. And they just like freak out about your haircut, right? And
Sure.
they have to make a comment that you got a haircut. Everyone gets haircuts all the time, and yet you get a haircut, and people feel like they have to mention it.
I also brushed my teeth this morning. Would you like to talk about that?
Well, that's not as noticeable, right? Here's another.
My teeth are fairly white.
Well, if you whitened your teeth,
They would talk about it.
and
You're right.
everyone would be like, "Oh, you whiten your teeth?" There's
Wow.
a group of my friends. There is one black guy, okay, and knowing that, I am sure he gets the token black guy jokes all the time. So I don't say them.
Right.
You know, they might pop into my head like, "Oh, this would be funny," but like it's only funny to me because he probably gets it all the freaking
Sure.
time. And so when I hear it, I start picking up on it, right? I'm like, oh man, they always have to, and they're not being racist or offensive or mean, but it's just like, why do you always have to talk about that I'm like the one black guy? Like, we're all just people, like, let's just hang out. But that's just how people think, because they see something that's like, the group is one way, right? And there's this one thing that's different, whether it's a haircut, or that he's black, or that he's gay, or that it's the one girl, right? You got a big group of like 10 guys, and there's like the one girl, the cool chick who hangs out there. She probably gets a lot of the jokes of like, oh, hanging out with all the guys, huh? You know, like, oh, just one of the guys? And she's probably like, screw you, I'm just hanging out with my friends.
Right.
But as that person, I hope this friend of mine knows that these people are just making those jokes because they're stupid people. Just like the people who always talk about your haircut or your tattoo or that you bleached your hair or that you got glasses or like whatever apparent thing that's hitting them in the face. And that's what they have to say because people just like to talk.
Sure.
Like I've been for the past 5 minutes, right? they just
get it
have
all
to
out
say,
right
they
now on
have
the
to say
podcast?
things, right? Oh, and to wrap it up, I said mind think. I was thinking of doublethink and newspeak, which are both from 1984.
Oh.
I don't remember either one of those from 1984.
Doublethink is the act of ordinary people simultaneously accepting two mutually contradictory beliefs as correct. And newspeak is the fictional language in the novel 1984. It is a controlled language created by the totalitarian state as a tool to limit freedom of thought.
Doublethink sounds like the entire Democratic debate. And half, probably more than half, the Republican debate. By the way, tell me that woman right there isn't gorgeous.
Who's that?
That's Shirley Temple. Thank you very much.
She does look a little Dorothy-ish, doesn't she?
Well, when she was actually going to be cast as Dorothy, and they didn't lock that contract down.
So, hey, you guys know who else was hot? This fly-looking lady in this Ted Cruz ad. I don't know if you guys heard about this.
No.
Ted Cruz
I
is
did.
hiring some pretty good-looking ladies for his political ads. He was going to attack rival Marco Rubio. And so he hires this lady, and he's like, hey, you want to go out there and be a sexy-looking lady and attack Marco Rubio for me? And she's like, sure, I've done porn. And he's like, cool.
That's exactly how the conversation went, right?
Well, actually, okay, maybe not exactly that way. How it actually went was that they had an open casting call.
Okay.
Okay. And they hired an actress just from an open casting call.
Sure.
Right? And filmed the whole commercial. Put the commercial out there. And then discovered some pictures like this one with her.
With Ron Jeremy?
With Ron Jeremy. And found out, yeah, she, let's see, performed in such adult films as Kinky Sex Club, MILF, Carnal Wishes, not Carnival.
Did that win an award?
That'd be weird. I don't know. And Sex Sent to Me. Oh, wait, Sex Sent Me to the ER. Anyway, so
that's quite the career.
I'm curious because Ted Cruz pulled this ad. This is actually a topic I wanted to bring up. Ted Cruz pulled this ad, and I'm just curious. You guys literally work in the film industry, right? And so you guys seen open?
I didn't know
casting
what
calls
you were
and
going to
stuff?
say. I thought you were going to be like, you guys literally watch a lot of porn, right? You guys know her. You've seen her before.
You seen her? She familiar? I mean,
She was at last year's convention, porn convention stuff.
no, that was not
She
what I was
signed
gonna
my
say.
chest.
Oh yeah,
That
yes,
the way-
yes.
I don't know.
We work in video production.
You
yes.
work in video
True,
production,
yeah.
okay? Have you guys seen casting calls to either one of the companies?
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so people just literally walk in the door and you're like, hey, we got a small part for you.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the way it works?
More or less. There's usually
Yeah,
maybe some kind of
schedule.
schedule or something more regimented than just people
But
walking in off the street. But yeah,
Right. But
they're random people. Yeah.
pretty random. And so is it...
a lot of times you contract out like a talent agency, and you send them, this is what I want, and then they send you actors. So you're
So-
not typically going through and checking
Is it
resumes.
okay, so you don't check resumes. So not that out of the ordinary that you don't know this person's whole film history.
Oh, correct. Yeah, unless you really did a thorough background check, you would just be like, okay, you've worked, and maybe she's not putting porn on her resume.
Right.
So for these kind of ad placement spot, like these kind of things, it's such a small production in comparison. Like a lot of times you will look at previous work if you're doing like a major film, because you want to see like, oh, have they done action before? What are their skills?
If you're in
that kind of
Hollywood.
stuff. But
right?
even like smaller films do that if they're looking for specific skills. You're like, oh yeah, well this person is a clown in the script. We should probably find somebody who can juggle and ride a unicycle. Mm-hmm. But other than that, like for these kinds of things, you just need actors and actresses that can talk. Then you just do a casting call and you don't have resumes.
Yeah. Okay, so the story that they don't know that she ever did porn is not difficult to buy at all. You guys straight up say, no,
sure
that's true.
They had no idea.
Yeah, okay. So you guys are at that point. Okay, you're actually the film guys. And let's say it didn't even come out yet. You've already done all the filming. You're doing the post-production work, right? You're in front of your computer doing your hard work.
And you're like, oh my gosh, I recognize her. How do I know her? Oh, that's right. Crap, wait.
She was in Sex Sent Me to the ER, of course.
Oh, that's horrible. I feel bad.
He's so derailed right now.
I feel bad for even reading that title. I was like, okay. So anyway, but you guys are doing that. How ticked off would you be if your boss comes in and goes, look, we just found out she's done porn before. We've got to refilm that whole thing.
Depends. Have they already paid me for the first?
Well, that's what you're a contractor.
Pay me again.
So Strawn's is sitting here going, "I'm
around.
on salary." I would just say, "Okay." I mean, is that where you were going?
I mean, I don't know that I'd be upset. I'd be like, "Oh, no one knew that." Okay, I mean, okay, yeah, right.
Would you be surprised if your boss came to you and said that
we need to redo it before it's aired?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't be surprised if they found out before it aired. Then okay, yeah. It makes sense. It's a lot of money to spend on doing an ad again, but I would understand why someone wouldn't want to air her as that character.
Right.
Especially if it's something in these circumstances like, oh, we shot this commercial for a church, or we shot this commercial for a charity, or we shot for a campaign where image is everything, right? I get the motivation, but anybody who's in production would be like, that's not that big of a deal. Like, I get why.
See, what I'm wondering is...
You wouldn't know.
Because it's a campaign, and obviously in the campaign situation, you just have to go, oh, it's out that she was a porn actress. We're taking that down. Right? And you just got to redo it. It's just kind of expected. I think because two things, right? Number one, nobody's going to even listen to the ad. If they just continue to air it, right? That's a situation. They just said, nah, you know what? Let's just stick with it. We already filmed it, and it's not that big a deal. We didn't know who she was, and we already told the public that. Just keep airing the commercial.
Mm-hmm. They're going to be like, which girl is it?
Yeah, every time that commercial airs, you're just going to have a bunch of guys sitting around going, no, for real. Carnal Wishes. I'm pretty sure it was Carnal Wishes. No, was that? And they're not going to hear a single thing from the ad.
You'll lose the message,
right?
Sure.
I don't know. So I think I would have kept it. I would have gone with it.
I think it's going to be completely non-effective.
Nah,
nobody's going to hear out there. I mean, you can watch it on YouTube.
There are more people looking at this ad already because of this than ever would have seen it before.
Right, but you can take it and you can redo it and replace it with a different ad, and you can hit a different audience, right? There's already going to be people watching this. It's going to be on YouTube.
It's out there.
It's already out there. We got that. That's hitting that particular type of audience.
Yeah.
But the audience you're going for by just chucking a commercial on regular broadcast TV is like your 65-year-olds that don't even know what YouTube is.
Right.
Right?
Sure.
So you got to put a different one on there. And they saw it on the news, and they're going to go, I think it's good that Ted fella, he took that down with that old porn actress. We don't like her.
I think
Super
that
Tuesday's
guy
coming
watches
up.
a lot of porn, though.
And the old guy's
that
gonna
old
be
guy.
But that was supposed to be the wife. She's been smoking for a while. No, the guy would be like, "Yeah, I'm glad they took that girl from Colonel. I mean, I've never seen anything with her or anything else."
You look good, Marge. You look good, Marge.
I mean, it could be a good, clever marketing stunt to get people to look at this ad.
That's true. I mean,
Maybe.
And even just the act of like
Sex
having
sells.
it and then pulling it down. Super Tuesday's still coming up. You know,
Yeah.
you're talking about a major evangelical turnout during that time, and Ted Cruz goes for the evangelical vote. The idea that it got posted, and then just the fact that somebody with a questionable past was in it. No, well, we're going to pull that down because that's not going to share the right message, or people will be distracted by this. That may hit those evangelical staunch.
But that's why they
Party of
say
the Republicans.
That's why they say they didn't know it was a mistake. But then there's controversy, there's sex, people are into
People are
it.
talking
but they're
about
like, "Oh yeah, they just made a mistake. I like Ted Cruz now. I've seen this ad a bunch of times because I like her."
Speaking of, I just had a thought. I just saw a picture on your screen, Jeremy, of Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
Yeah.
I feel like if Shirley Temple hung out with the Olsen twins too much, she would end up looking like Debbie Wasserman Schultz.
She just hung out with the Olsen twins?
Yeah, you know, cocaine and heroin does things to people.
Wow. Well,
It's just her crazy eyes and her tight curly hair. Anyway,
I just
continue.
had to mention this since Strawn's brought up Super Tuesday. This was actually one thing.
Strawn's.
Wait, did you?
I brought it up.
I apologize. Adam brought up Super Tuesday. You guys, you look and sound the same. You basically have the same ideas.
That's totally a microaggression.
Yeah.
And that offends me.
Yeah. You had that. What's that thing? That one speech, two speech, whatever.
Double
you guys
speak?
Yeah, you
New
guys
speak, double think.
You
Double
have that.
think.
You have that. You got both of them. Okay. But yeah, U.S. District Court judge on Thursday ordered the State Department to publish the final remaining emails from Hilary Clinton's tenure as Secretary of the State before voting begins on Super Tuesday.
Be interesting.
Super Tuesday is March 1st, and they ordered the emails released in batches February 13th, 19th, 26th, and 29th. So literally the last batch of emails is coming out the day before Super Tuesday.
The day before?
The day
Nobody's
before
gonna
Super
have a
Tuesday.
chance to really
But you
do
also
it.
have 3 batches of emails coming out before that.
Oh.
And I think there is a chance. I think as soon as they release them, they're going to have people working on it 24/7. You're going to have news people on it for sure. And it can be coming out as the people go to the polls. Like,
yeah, it turns out she actually is an evil piece of crap just like we thought she was. How's that for crazy? I mean, we didn't think she was, but Jeremy did. Other guys like him. Rush Limbaugh.
anyway, so I thought that was fascinating. I didn't really want to talk about it. There's not much to discuss. Like, is it a good thing or a bad thing? Yeah, it's a freaking good thing that the emails are finally going to come out after all this time. Thank you. Thank you for ordering it. Okay, we appreciate it.
Just in time for Bloomberg to jump into the race.
Strawn, do you have a topic today? What was your topic?
I think we've already covered a lot of ground. I was just looking up to see if I could find the views on this commercial, to see if I could compare them with other Ted Cruz ads, to see what had more views. But I can't find that video on YouTube.
Let me see if I can pull it up on.
It's on a couple websites that are featuring it with their own player.
Right.
But yeah, it's not on YouTube. Not that I can find. So maybe they're doing some kind of like copyright strikes against anyone who's trying to post it.
I don't know. It's on YouTube on the Blaze.
What's the title of the video?
Ted Cruz 2016 Conservatives Anonymous.
It's like an AA meeting where people come in and they're like, "Yeah, I voted for this guy, and he didn't do what he said he would." It's like they're admitting to voting for
That's
crappy
what it is?
politicians.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
It's a clever ad. It's just nobody's focused on the actual ad content.
Okay, views. It says it's only 186.
Yeah.
So it's not getting a whole lot of traction.
Conservatives. So what's the channel that it's on? Campaign TV ads?
Yep, campaign TV ads.
Okay. Yeah, released on February 11th. Like that. That's right now, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that 3 hours ago. So yeah, this is like, I don't know. We'll probably have to check back in on it in a week once people
Once it gets out,
have people have a chance to see it and hear the controversy.
Because I think this story only got posted on the Blaze just a few hours ago. Yeah, 8:54 p.m. So, so yeah, it hasn't even gotten time to get around the internet yet.
Breaking news, dude. We're
on top of it. We're on it. We're on it
with this Periscope.
You heard it here, folks. First,
you heard it here, folks.
Shut up. You heard it here first.
Hey, I already read you telling me to shut up tonight. All right, I don't need your microaggressions.
I called you a bigot too. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good time. I just finished.
We're ending laughing. We're ending happy. We're not.
We started in the pit.
We started. We're all going to die.
Dug our way out.
I think I like that better. I'm going to try that from now on.
I mean, the worst thing that's happening right now is that I just finished my QT iced tea.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of upset that it's gone. But that's a good time to end because I can just go get another one. I can walk right next door.
On that note, we'll say bye to Strons as he walks next door. No, QT is better. No, Soko K is better. No.
No, QT is definitely it's not up for debate.
What the freak did you just do?
Haven't you ever seen that movie?
You're making fun of me for saying you heard it here first, and you're doing that.
Is that
Billy Madison.
Billy Madison.
Yeah. Sorry, Adam Sandler.
Do you know? I'd actually talk to people in the younger generation about Billy Madison or Tommy Boy. I'm just like, hey, you remember Tommy Boy? And they're just like,
no,
no, I've never seen that.
Yeah,
it's sad. We're all gonna die.
All right, give me that card.
There you go. I'll go stop the Periscope stream.
Did we decide? Can they still hear us after we stop?
Well, once you hit stop on that, it's no longer sending audio.
Is that? I don't think that's true.
Oh no, it's sending it from here.
It's sending it directly.
It's sending from there, so they can still hear us. Bye, Periscope people.
Still here, and YouTube people eventually.
Yeah,
and YouTube people eventually. I miss you so much. It hurts sometimes.